Are we about to witness the most franchise-altering draft night decision in recent memory, or is this front office walking right into a first-round trap? The war room is completely sealed tight, but the final whispers leaking out of the building point to a massive, team-defining showdown at pick 25. With the clock ticking and the entire fan base holding its collective breath, we have to talk about the absolute wildcards stepping into the spotlight tonight. If you want to ride out every single twist and turn of this draft together, hit that like button, share this video, and subscribe right now so we can dominate this journey as one unit. Can you feel that energy building in the air tonight? It is finally here. We have spent months overanalyzing every pro day, every combined drill, and every cryptic comment from the coaching staff, but tonight, the endless speculation completely fades into reality. The sheer volume of final mock drafts dropping over the last 24 hours is genuinely staggering, and the craziest part is that nobody in the national media can seem to agree on what Chicago is actually going to do with that 25th overall selection. That unpredictability is exactly what makes tonight so incredibly tense. The domino effect of this one single choice is going to ripple violently all the way through the later rounds. Let's take a smooth walk through the absolute chaos and look at what the heavy hitters in the scouting world are projecting, because the draft board is completely scattered right now. Mel Kiper Jr. released his final predictions and tied Zion Young to our city. Brad Biggs is hearing very similar local rumblings and firmly echoed that exact same Zion Young prediction. But then you pivot over to the incredibly plugged-in, intel-driven analysts like Peter Schrager, Dane Brugler, and Bill Zimmerman. All three of those guys are heavily circling the wagons around Clemson's relentless edge rusher T.J. Parker. We cannot stop there though. The draft community heavyweights, Todd McShay and Daniel Jeremiah, are throwing a massive curveball by projecting Auburn's defensive freak of nature, Keldric Faulk. On the complete opposite side of the trenches, Matt Miller went entirely off the defensive script and mocked Utah offensive tackle Caleb Lomu to us. Oh, and Benjamin Albright. He decided to throw Peter Woods into the conversation just to keep us all guessing. Before we go any further, there's one ridiculous rumor we need to completely shut down right now. We are absolutely not taking Field Yates's advice and drafting Mason Thomas in the first round. Spending premier draft capital on a 240-pound edge rusher with 31-inch arms is an utter fantasy that does not align with anything this coaching staff values. Consider that rumor fully debunked and off the table. So, let us dive deep into the swelling momentum for T.J. Parker. There is a very distinct possibility that a massive run on offensive tackles happens just before we go on the clock. If those premier big men vanish, grabbing a guy like Parker makes an undeniable amount of sense. Honestly, there is a lot to admire about his beautifully violent game. While it is mildly frustrating that his raw production dipped a bit this past season, the tape tells a much deeper story. The young man is an absolute gladiator out there. He possesses a relentlessly high motor that never shuts off, which is exactly the kind of lifeblood defensive coordinator Dennis Allen demands from his trench warriors. Parker brings genuine, heavy-handed physicality to the point of attack. With arms stretching comfortably past 33 inches, he is a remarkably stout run defender. He has been locking down the edge against elite college competition since his freshman year. His pass rush repertoire, admittedly, is a bit of a roller coaster ride right now. He will flash utter brilliance on one drive and completely disappear into the line of scrimmage on the next. But remember, Clemson forced him into some incredibly bizarre rotations last year that simply did not maximize his true skill set. Even when things got messy, his effort never wavered. Dane Brugler made an incredibly astute comparison, likening Parker's leverage and power-based foundation to Jabal's Sherd. Parker would be the true definition of a high-floor, reliable selection. It wouldn't be the sexiest pick to make the highlight reels, but it is a profoundly safe, culture-building move that immediately elevates our run defense. But what if the front office decides to fully embrace the danger? That brings us to Keldric Faulk, undeniably the most polarizing, fiercely debated prospect in this entire draft class. You look at social media, and half the fan base is practically begging the team to stay away because he only logged 2 sacks last season. But if you can look past the basic box score, the physical profile is absolutely intoxicating. We are talking about a 6'6", 275-pound defensive weapon who just clocked a blazing 4.67 in the 40-yard dash. That is absurd movement for a human being of that sheer magnitude. He is drawing legitimate, whispered comparisons to a prime Kim Jordan. Yes, he is unrefined. Yes, he leaves a lot of near-miss plays on the field. But you are investing in a heavily developing 21-year-old who previously posted 7 sacks and 11 tackles for loss just 2 seasons ago. The foundation is undeniable. He is a sturdy run defender who possesses a ceiling so remarkably high it practically touches the stadium lights. The worst-case scenario with Faulk is that he becomes an elite rotational piece who effortlessly kicks inside to terrorize guards on passing downs. This brings me to the defining question of the day, and I need you all to flood the comments right now. Are you willing to swing for the absolute fences on a high-risk, sky-high reward physical freak like Keldric Faulk, or do you want the safer, high-motor reliability of T.J. Parker? Type TJ down below if you want Parker, or type KF if you are ready to risk it all on Faulk. Let your voice be heard right now. Now let us completely shift gears, because what if the defensive side of the ball isn't the priority at all? Matt Miller pointing us toward Caleb Lomu is a phenomenally smooth pivot that we have to take very seriously. Lomu is an incredibly athletic, wonderfully fluid pass protector. His footwork is fundamentally gorgeous to watch. The only real critique scouts have is that he needs to find a bit more of a nasty, violent streak in the run game to really bury defenders into the turf. But as a pure blocker, his floor is magnificently high. We have to look at our devastating reality on the offensive line. Losing Ozzy Trapilo to that severe knee injury leaves an absolutely gaping hole on the blindside for the entire 2026 season. That completely forces our hand. Lomu is just 21 years old, boasting 2 full years of invaluable starting experience in college. Just imagine plugging a smooth, highly intelligent rookie right next to a veteran maestro like Joe Thuney. That is exactly how you build an impenetrable fortress for your quarterback. I genuinely believe the front office desperately wants a tackle. I do not see them recklessly trading away future picks to jump up the board, but if Lomu gracefully slides into our laps at 25, you better believe they will not hesitate to pull the trigger. But the draft does not end on Thursday night. As we look ahead to Day 2, the silence surrounding our secondary is genuinely concerning. We have a glaring, undeniable void at the safety position, and we desperately need fresh blood at outside corner to put some real competitive heat on Tariq Stevenson. If we are talking safeties, the ultimate dream scenario involves a subtle trade back to snatch Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. He is likely sliding out of the first round, and grabbing him in the early 30s would be absolute highway robbery. Trayden Stokes will likely be gone by the time we pick again, but sitting there at 57, we could be staring right at Keontae Scott or A.J. Halsey. And if we strategically wait until pick 89, grabbing a smooth operator like Bud Clark or Jalen Kilgore would be a phenomenal value play for our defensive backfield. As for the cornerbacks, the Day 2 options are fascinating. D'Angelo Pons is wildly explosive, though his significantly smaller frame might understandably scare off our defensive coaches. But Brandon Cisse. He fits the exact physical profile we desire on the outside and would be a beautiful snag at 57. I am completely steering clear of Avion Terrell. He simply lacks the top-end speed we need and is strictly a nickel guy at the professional level. But if we wander into the 3rd round, finding Davis Inigbinosun or Malik Muhammad waiting for us would be an absolute masterclass in drafting. Both of those guys are tailor-made for our exact defensive architecture, and would bring a magnificent swagger to the field. The suspense is beautiful, the stakes have never been higher, and our entire future shifts tonight. Will it be the trench warriors, the athletic blindside protector, or a massive curveball nobody saw coming? Leave your final, locked-in prediction for pick 25 in the comments, and let's get ready to watch destiny unfold.